What's going on, boys? Episode 5 of the Fulham Career Mode. We're back and we're returning to St James's Park to start today's episode against Newcastle. 8 games into the season, 4-1-3 record. I think that is pretty impressive from ourselves. Obviously, we've also got Omega Man up top. He is the top goal scorer in the league. Smith Rowe's finding a bit of form out wide on this left-hand side. Things are looking pretty top for the Fulham fans right now. What a better way to start at this kind of almost a cauldron atmosphere at St James's Park with an early goal to silence the home fans and let the away fans make a bit of noise is what I should have said. This 4-4-2 we've switched into, unfortunately, we might have to move away from it because, as you know, Jimenez is leaving. He is going to be joining Inter Miami come January 1st. Muniz, he was alright, but he's not that good, I don't think. I think we need a better option. So, unless we sign a new striker in January, the 4-4-2 is probably going to turn into some kind of formation with one up top, with Muniz being a backup to Omega Man, who looks to add a second, doesn't quite work out, finds Iwobi in the middle. Nick Pope just plucks it out of the air. But yeah, as things stand, Jimenez is going, Muniz might be going to generate some more money. I don't know yet, but I think we're going to move to a one up top. Omega Man, and we'll kind of let Smith Rowe, Mainu, Iwobi, maybe I'll get Chukwueze, maybe even Adama's probably going to go as well, but just let them kind of bounce off him, use him as a target man, a bouncing board, get them more involved, because right now they haven't really scored as many goals as I want them to. I know we're 8 games into the season, they've got 1 or 2 goals each. They're not going to be kind of up where Omega is. A bit of an anomaly this season. But, you know, if we could have Smith Rowe and Iwobi scoring even 10 goals a season, that'll help us in our push for Conference League. Obviously, we were in and about that area when you saw the league table a minute ago. So, if things can keep going this way, get the Europa League. Conference League, I think Conference League is the aim, Europa League is the dream. I think that's fair to say for this Fulham team, because we have at some points had a sticky patch, struggled, and at other points in this season we've been flying. Obviously the win against United, the kind of late loss to Chelsea, that was a sour note. But overall, we've balanced and we've had, I'd say, a decent season so far. We're about where we're expected to be. We do need to kind of push those expectations a little bit higher if we want to get European football next season. But Smith Rowe cuts past his man, comes inside and just shoots it past Nick Pope to make it 2-2. First goal of the season. It's took him 9 games. Someone of his kind of potential talents, you think he'd have more than 1 goal in 9 games. Just saying, he is playing a bit deep. He's probably got a couple of assists to his name, but I think someone as talented as he could be needs to be kind of contributing to more goals scored than he currently is. 82 minutes into this game, a chance for ourselves there, kind of straight at Nick Pope. Some of Omega Man's headers don't have the most power, and they are kind of easily caught. I don't know if that's to do with the cross or to do with the man generating the power, but basically, Pope kicks it upfield, and now there's a chance for Newcastle. Anthony, I think, should have got that one away, should have cleared it. Joel Toon plays it across to Bruno Guimaraes, his fellow Brazilian. He scored the first goal. He scores the third goal. He wins the game for Newcastle. We're going to return back to London empty-handed, unfortunately. We put up a big fight. Robinson, he's been struggling a little bit in these past few games. There's been a couple of wingers he's come up against, and obviously they're not going to outpace him. They outstrengthed him. They just pushed him out the way. Obviously, it's more than good enough for us. Maybe he just needs to hit the gym a little bit. But that is confirmation that Jimenez is going to the MLS. He'll probably smash it at the MLS, honestly. As we come into the Carabao Cup. And what is probably going to be our final Carabao Cup game of this season. Unfortunately, a trip to the Etihad to take on City. It's really only going to end one way, isn't it? You know, if we're being honest with ourselves. And that's going to be a City win. But this game was incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. Two main highlights. First one, Kearney goes up for a header with Haaland. Haaland gets up. Kearney does not. He stays down with an injury serious enough that he is forced off of the pitch. He's going to be out for a couple of months. Unfortunately, it's not the ACL, so it's not 7 months, but I think it's 2 or 3 months. I can't quite remember the kind of consequences of that injury. The second chance, and the second real highlight that kind of takes us into this one, 70th minute, Bernardo Silva knocks the ball out wide. Eventually it's going to find Nunez, who just sends one in, and it's actually a very unlikely player that you'd think to score. It is Rafinha, formerly of Barcelona, 5th place in the Champions League not the Champions League, the Ballon d'Or this year. I think is a bit of a travesty, I won't lie. Not a travesty. He should be higher. I think he should be top 3 at least. He was incredible in the Champions League last season. But the game is 1-0. We're out the Carabao Cup. That's fine. Cups were, maybe a bit of a distraction. You know, we want Conference League. We can get it through the cup, but instead, let's get it through a whole season of hard work. Wolves come to the cottage. A Mega Man almost scores almost instantly. That's why Robinson's got to stay in the team, because he's got crosses like that. They can, that can win you a game later on. Just send it in there, and he'll get to it more often than not. Another chance, Castagna saved from range. Just try to sort of rotate a little bit in this game. A couple of players dropped in, a couple of players dropped out. Just for this game, we're not going to be permanent, but obviously, maybe if things continue well, maybe they can find a spot in this team. But Smith Rowe almost scores in back-to-back Premier League games, just wide of the post. But we're dominating Wolves in this game, and that's what we want. We need to bounce back from the loss against Newcastle and the loss against City with a nice result here against Wolves. Just to, get us back on track, give our heads a wobble. That was just two little bumps in our road to the Conference League. And we're playing the ball across really nicely. And Mega Man holds off his man. Muniz lays it off to Kobe Mainu. A great save from Jose Sa, denied us multiple times in this game. And we go into the second half. Wolves are kicking us off. With this 4-4-2 formation, obviously it's tough to break down for the opposition teams. And you can see there, bought off Berger, brought on Josh King, a bit more of an attacking kind of situation here. I'm going to look to attack straight away in this second half as Muniz holds it off, threads it through to Smith Rowe, cuts past Agaboo, not sure, slots it into the back of the net. Goals in back-to-back games is exactly what we want. Goal contributions from Emile Smith Rowe. We want him to hit that potential that he had when he was at Arsenal. Croydon De Bruyne, whipping in those kind of Croydon-esque crosses. Croydon-esque? De Bruyne-esque crosses. One of the, incredible cross through the ball was De Bruyne. Maybe I'll have to put him onto the right-hand side because he can use his stronger foot and just whip it into the back post. Almost like he whips this one to the top corner. Almost doubling our lead. Not quite, unfortunately. And also, he's already got the assists to his name, and I've popped him up top is also what I was going to say here. I've popped him up top just for a couple of minutes, and that's an option that we can use. Sarr, another great save. This time though, Omega Man is there to tap in the rebound and all but secures the result for ourselves. 3 points should be staying with us. Wolves is probably the most dominant performance we've had this season. We've absolutely played them off the park in all aspects of the game. They haven't really had a threat on our goal, which is really nice to see. As Kobe Manu out to a web, just bopping the ball about, finding a bit of space. Lovely from Smith Rowe here, and an insane finish into the top side netting. The angle was the angle was insane that he shot from on his left foot, and he kind of just an insane finish. Makes it 3. And hopefully these kind of performances here and the one against Newcastle and some of the performances earlier in this season where he's picked up a couple of assists, that just pushes him on, drives him, gives him motivation, and he can become a top player for us. But we move into the final game of today's episode. Our first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Everton, at this new arena, cauldron, temple, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually impressed that EA have actually scanned the proper stadium. Years ago, even the newly promoted teams, they wouldn't have their stadium in the game straight away. When the game released, you'd have to wait a couple of months. Here, 15 minutes in, referee blows up. Looks like it's that knobhead Anthony Taylor in charge, and I was like, what happened? Who fouled who? You can just see it there, Iwobi. The slightest of little touches on number 20 goes down. Penalty to Everton. Will Leonard go the right way? Goes the complete wrong way. Uphill battle now. Opposition stadium. It's a new stadium. They don't want to, they want to keep the record at this stadium for as long as possible. So yeah, an uphill battle. And Everton, anyway, it's a tough away game for a lot of teams. So yeah, definitely going to be fighting for this one. And with our defence, look at it. It was all over the place. Absolutely just holes all over. They're finding the passes. They're finding the spaces. Tyler Dibbling to Idrissa Gana Gay. Gay finds Gilherme. He finds Alcaraz on the turn. No one, absolutely no one around him. Got the time, got the space, and he's got the finish to put it past Leno. Doubles the lead for Everton. 2-0. And that challenge that we already had is now even more difficult. And with the clock ticking down, 10 minutes left in this one, it seems like it might just be the impossible task to go and beat Everton in this one. But Smith Rowe, he is up to that task. In the middle, he finds Berger. Berger finds Iwobi. Will he shoot? Will he pass? He finds Manu. Manu finds Smith Rowe on the turn. He's been in a bit of form in Smith Rowe. A lucky break, though, thankfully. Omega Man finds the back of the net. 10 goals, double digits already this season. Game on? Question mark? Are we going to be back in this one? Well, 89 minutes into this one, Iwobi is going to loft the ball onto Dead of Anderson. A great save from Pickford denies us the chance of getting back on level terms, and you can see what that means. That means just as much as a goal. Another opportunity against the opposition. Whipped in. Anderson again gets his head to it, and again denied by Jordan Pickford. And he knows now, I'm going to have to be brave. I'm going to have to rush out and catch that one. And that's exactly what he does. And he's going to boot it upfield. The referee's going to blow his whistle. And unfortunately, we're going to lose here to Everton. So pretty poor set of results in today's episode. Hopefully things get better in episode 6. We'll just have to wait and see. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, please like, subscribe, and peace.